at it again. Good evening, everyone. And thank you for joining us tonight for our bi weekly live stream for our Dharma talk and guided meditation. I'm Vladimir, and I am the founder of the Blue Lotus Meditation and Mindfulness Center here in central Minnesota, not too far from, we're actually located in Brainerd, so not too far from St. Cloud, or about an hour and a half north of Minneapolis. So you're always welcome to join us if you are ever in town, but you're always welcome to join us via our live streams or any of our pre-recorded and other wonderful information that we have developed to help guide you in your mindfulness journey. So today is October 3rd. How about that? Only 2 more months left. 2 more months left of 2022. It's about 6 p.m. here in the Central Time Zone, and I am grateful for your presence here with us this evening. And tonight's topic, we'll be talking about developing community within ourselves. So the whole month of October, our theme is developing community and fostering community within ourselves, within the community itself. And then the last live stream of the month will be on how to continuing nurturing those qualities for developing those wonderful connections. Right? Mindfulness is not about being alone or singular, right, or separate. It's a connection. So you're welcome to try some of the techniques or the ideas that I'm, glad to offer and suggest. So our typical format, for those of you that may be new with us, so we'll start off with our nurturing and guided meditation to kind of get us relaxed and into the positive mindsets or the reflective mindset, or even to just relax as we prepare to talk about our Dharma talk, which is on developing our inner community. So go ahead. Let's begin by taking a moment to settle our bodies into a comfortable position. You may close your eyes or keep them open with a slightly open, I should say, with a soft focus, looking downward, perhaps maybe just a few feet in front of you. Breathe in. Pause. Slowly exhale. And while you sit there, I invite you to allow a half smile to rest on your face as well. Allow your spine to lift, your shoulders to soften. And soften your belly as you continue settling in. Breathe in. Pause. And breathe out, either through your nose or through your mouth. And as you sit there and maybe make some adjustments to your posture, just begin to let your breathing return back to its natural rhythm. And let's meditate on developing your inner community. And community is something that we all share. Customs, values, friendships, attitudes, and interests. Our inner community may at times become obscured or detracted as a result of societal noises that we experience on a daily basis. Noise obscures our values, noise minimizes our attitudes and our interests. Noise separates us from ourselves. Breathe in. Pause. And slowly breathe out, either through your nose or your mouth. And for the next few moments, let your attention drift towards images of sounds, of calmness and peace. Perhaps you may visualize a mountain lake, perhaps it's a lush green forest, or even swaying fields of flowers in the breeze. Wherever you decide. With each in-breath, bring in the refreshing and invigorating air that surrounds you wherever you're sitting. And with each out-breath, let go of a distraction, such as a cell phone or a computer or a television, or maybe expensive clothing, or even feelings of unworthiness. With each out breath, let go. And with each in-breath, the static and that noise begins to subside. And with each out-breath, you foster your inner community. Breathe in. Pause. And breathe out. With each in-breath, that noise continues to subside. And with each out-breath, an anchor is released. Breathe in. Pause. And breathe out. And with each in-breath, the noise just gets quieter. And with each out-breath, your community is nurtured within. Calmness begins to take over the static and the busyness. You're able to connect back to your being. Go ahead and begin to open your eyes slowly to reorientate yourself to your surroundings. And maybe you'd like to shift around and get into a different position. Or if you're going to stand, be aware of your surroundings. And so you may have some support if you need to. Wonderful. So often in our daily lives, we're just bombarded with noise, information, most of it not even useful. And that takes away from our inner community, ourselves. And so we've been taught to think in terms of me and I instead of we and us. If we think about that, and our society is very individualistic. In this mindset, this me and I, by the very nature of what it is, it's one of exclusion and separation. Whereas when we think of we and us, it is one of inclusion, of joining together, of forming a community. And both perspectives certainly have their merits. One is not better than the other. One is not superior, and one is not inferior in thought. But a balance is necessary to be maintained. If we have too much me and I, the group suffers. If we have too much we and us, an individual is not allowed to flourish. So we have to have a gentle balance, a mindful balance. And so again, for me and I, for instance, when we think of me and I, that's identifying an individual condition, right? Where some needs, an individual's needs need to be met. I am hungry. I feel scared. I feel overjoyed. I feel uncertain. Whereas we as a collective condition identifies the need for fulfillment as well. We need to get going, right? Group, we need to get going or we'll be late. Or let's all gather around the fire for warmth. So groups also provide safety, reassurance. But so does an individual. So we have to develop a community within ourselves before we are able to have a nice balance and an awareness for a community at large, a larger whole. So in our busy day-to-day world, we have moved away and far away from let's help. Let's help the we to a more let's focus on me. And that takes us out of balance. Communities suffer and individuals suffer as well. But even then, when we focus on the me, we are very distracted with noise. Think about sometimes when you come home, maybe from a long day at work, right? What do? Do we tend to focus on ourselves when we say me time? Because what does me time very often mean? TV, news, politics, movies, games, distractions. Are those really me time? A distraction? Are they bettering ourselves? With the continuous bombardment of information and inconsequential or even insignificant information. We all like to watch TV, of course. I have my shows that I like. I read and watch the news on occasion to keep up. I enjoy playing games, right? Sometimes with my family or even, some video games every now and then. But there has to be that gentle balance, that awareness of what is news or what is useful information and what is a distraction to our being. So how do we develop that community within ourselves? How do we strengthen our awareness, our self-worth, our value to ourselves? Well, let's think about what community really means. What is a general standard all-encompassing definition for community. It's a feeling of fellowship with others, right? As a result of sharing common attitudes and interests and goals. So that's how we would define a broad community, but we can certainly apply those to ourselves, to an individual purpose, to our being, right? What are our goals inside? What are our attitudes inside? Where do we get our attitudes? Are they nurturing attitudes? Are they wholesome? Are they developmental? Or are they divisive, separatists, taking us away from the balance that we truly try to achieve within ourselves? So if we're constantly bombarded with noise, how do we know our own interests? How do we know what they are? How do we know our own attitudes? If you allow someone else to tell you what it is. Think about the commercials that we watch. Think about the products that we buy. In short, in some instances, or in some realm, I suppose, right? Commercialism tells you what to think, right? It tells you what to believe. So do sometimes influential people. They may have a different motive, right? Well-known business person once said, you don't know what you want until we tell you what you want. And how true is that? Look at some of the things that we purchase, right? When we don't have something new or shiny or up to date, right? They often water those feelings or those emotions of unworthiness. Of, I am not whole because I don't have this new cell phone, these $400 shoes. So we're often told in society that if you want happiness, you have to have that new car. You have to have that big house. You have to have all those expensive items. And if we think about those items, those expensive shoes, the fancy watches, the newest cell phone, none of those items will ever develop your inner community. They do not offer fellowship with our being. Our attitudes, our perspectives have been influenced by someone else and not by our true being, what's inside. And so how do we develop our inner community? How do we strengthen that so we know that we are worthy, right? We already are, right? Sometimes it takes a little extra effort to realize that. But no one is ever broken. No one is ever lacking. No one is ever not whole. We already are. So how do we develop that inner community? Meditation is vital, right? Meditation right away, 20 to 30 minutes a day. Doesn't even have to be sitting, in a lotus position. It could be walking in the park, just observing what's around you. But 20 to 30 minutes a day allows your mind to settle. It allows your body to feel. Think about when you are sitting, though. And if you do a sitting meditation, maybe your butt starts to hurt. That's a feeling. That's a connection to yourself that you may overlook. Maybe you hear some birds outside. That's a connection. And so sitting meditation is really good, but so are all those other types: cooking meditations, tea meditations, walking meditations, all those. They all allow you to connect to yourself. Something else, turn off those distractions. Cell phones, for one, right? We all seem to have those. Look at everybody's back pockets, right, as they walk around. You always see them in the back pockets. I've always wondered about that, though. I would always be afraid to sit on them and then crack the screen. But do you need your cell phone in the restroom? I'm sure some breaking news isn't going to happen while you were there. Do you need your cell phone while you're waiting for your appointment to the eye doctor? Or in the pharmacy, or waiting for your child's teacher for student-teacher conferences or parent-teacher conferences? We don't need to always be in constant communication. Remember, mostly that's just information that is not beneficial, not nurturing. It distracts, it takes away from our inner community. So turn it off every now and then. And television as well. Put yourself on a TV budget. Maybe pick 3 or 4 shows that you can watch over the course of a week. Right? So maybe 3 or 4 shows and leave it at that. And avoid that binging. Right? Avoid the binging. 3, 4, 5, 6 hours of just television. Same thing with the radio sometimes. Perhaps drive without the radio on if you commute to work. Pay attention to your steering wheel. When you hold on to the steering wheel, if you're a driver, you'll feel the bumps in the road more attunely. You'll feel the imperfections in the road. Feel it in the steering wheel. Helps you connect to what's going on around you. Driving is important. Connecting with the road is important too. It's a pretty big piece of machinery that you're operating. Pause before responding. Give yourself time to reflect on a situation or comment before you respond. Very often, we are just responding to responding. There's no thought behind that response. Cook meals from scratch. It's a great way to develop that community with yourself. Avoiding those processed foods that just come right in a box sometimes. Including those fruits and vegetables, right? You have to cut them, right? You have to cut your fruits and vegetables, biting in with your teeth to feel the crunch, right, of an apple or of a carrot or celery. To tell you what I just really started liking were beets. For some reason, I saw some red beets. I was like, you know what? I haven't had beets. I don't know. I couldn't tell you honestly the last time, other than 2 weeks ago. Couldn't tell you the last time I had beets, but you know what? There was just something about them. And they were delicious. If you eat meat, which is perfectly fine, but perhaps limit it to maybe 2 or 3 times a week, right? Try some other options. Because when we tend to cook meat, we tend to cook it the same way over and over, right? Maybe put it in the oven, some seasoning on it and so forth. or maybe we, fried chicken or something like that, right? But when we have to cook with vegetables and fruits, we are forcing ourselves to perhaps look up new menus, new ways to prepare, instead of falling into the same old, same old. So that's why I say that maybe 2 or 3 times a week, because it'll also grow your culinary skills, which is still connecting, because cutting those vegetables, right? You hear the crisps, snaps. And don't avoid people. Interact with others pleasantly. Just say hi. You don't have to have, you don't have to discuss the sutras or the Peloponnesian War or anything, but just say hello to the cashier, right? To the person maybe you're ordering your food from, or your delivery driver, the mailman, your neighbor, someone you don't even know. Just say hello. Don't avoid people. Just be pleasant. You never know who else's day, you may be improving just by saying hi. I like your glasses. I like those shoes. Whatever it is. Because when we connect with others, we are truly connecting with ourselves as well. Observe and write down random things that you see. Maybe you are taking a walk in nature. So write down something that you see or hear, right? Maybe you hear some squirrels tussling in the grass. Maybe you see them. Right now, they're in my area, they're starting to bury acorns. So maybe you write that down. Write down and observe something you see about a person. Maybe you like their tie. Maybe they were walking really quickly. Maybe they were walking really slowly. Identify some of those sights and smells, some of the feelings and thoughts and emotions maybe that were associated with those sights and sounds from out in nature or person that you saw, whatever it is. But those are how we develop the community within ourselves. It's how we strengthen. It's how we connect. Because we are a community in ourselves. We are a wonderful bundle of emotions and feelings and thoughts, aspirations, goals, dreams. So when we develop community within ourselves, we are able to wholesomely translate that to the community around us in which we live, our neighbors and society around us, coworkers, which we will talk about for our next live stream in 2 weeks. And so our next Dharma talk in 2 weeks, right, will be on Monday, the 17th, again, from 6 o'clock to about 6:30. Sometimes we run over a little bit, but generally around 6:30, 6:35 or so. We also have our teacher training starting this evening, right? Starting this evening. And everything that we offer is always donation-based. Teacher training, virtual retreats, live retreats, our virtual sanghas. All of them, everything that we offer is donation-based, and no one is ever turned away from growth, from growing. So you are always welcome here. And so some of our weekly sanghas that we do offer, our healing sangha. Maybe you're a traumatic experience survivor. Maybe you're a veteran. So we have a veteran sangha, which I am included. I guess I am a veteran, not was a veteran. I am a veteran. So for our wonderful service members, special Sangha for you. New beginning Sangha. Maybe you're overcoming addiction or struggling with an addiction. You're welcome to join us for our New Beginning Sangha. And our Rainbow Sangha for our wonderful LGBTQT plus communities. Join us. You have a community with us. And for our teens. It's hard being a teenager in the 21st century. I promise you, you're facing challenges that none of us have ever faced. Starting with the cell phones, right? So join us. Pick one, pick two, pick three. Come to all of them if you like. You're always welcome. Individual too, if you want to meet with me individually on a one-on-one basis, just go ahead and schedule. That's what we're here for. To learn the Dharma and to apply those wholesome teachings so we can all have a better community with ourselves and with others around us. And if you do find our talks and our activities and meetings beneficial and joyful, and our recordings, so forth, feel free to like and subscribe. And with that, my friends, till next time in 2 weeks, I wish you all an evening of peace, ease, and well-being. Take care.